For most couples, moving in together and deciding where to start their life together is really easy. But if you are in a relationship with somebody coming from another country who has another citizenship than you, things can quickly get a lot more complicated. For couples in a cross-border or in a long-distance relationship, there are often not many ways that allow them to live in the same country and have what most people consider a normal relationship. In fact, getting a work or a residence permit abroad can often be very complicated because the requirements for receiving such a permit are usually very high and the options are limited. While most countries allow visitors to stay in their country up to 90 days before they need to leave again for a longer period of time, living together in a situation like this as a couple can be quite difficult. Besides that, depending on somebody's nationality, even a visit can present itself very complicated and difficult sometimes, and worst case, not possible at all. For couples in this situation that actually want to be and live together in the same country, there is often only one option, and that is marriage. What that means is they need to get married for a residence permit. From my personal experience and from many conversations I had about this topic with some friends and family, I know that it can be very stressful for a couple if all of a sudden you find yourself at a crossroad where there's only two long-term options for you. You can end your relationship, or you have to get married if you want to live in the same country together. But getting married is without any doubt one of the biggest decisions in everybody's life because it will impact your life forever in many different ways. If people find themselves in a situation now in which they have to make this decision not on their own terms but more due to external circumstances, it can be very stressful and a little overwhelming to them. All of a sudden there is a ton of questions that arise for people to which they probably don't have the answers right away, and this can be quite scary. In this video, I'm going to share some tips that I gained from my personal experience that will hopefully be helpful to couples in a cross-country relationship who intend to get married. Let's first answer the question why you need to get married if you want to live with somebody in another country, and why it is, for instance, not possible to simply provide some proof that you are actually in a relationship and that you are living together. The main reason why most countries require a marriage certificate for a foreign partner to live in the same country with you is a shift of responsibility, because once you are married there's a whole set of rules and regulations applying by law to your relationship that is otherwise not the case. One of them is mutual financial responsibility. That means that up to a certain point, spouses can be held responsible for each other's behavior, especially financially. That is not the case if they are in a relationship without being married, and the latter is therefore riskier for a country that is issuing residence permits. Two questions that usually pop up pretty fast before starting the whole process of requiring a marriage visa and getting all the paperwork done are the following. Where do I even get started, and do I need an attorney or a legal counsel for this? In most cases, the answer to the second question is no. Usually the competent authorities, such as like courthouses, migration authorities, or your home country consulate, can provide you with all the necessary information that you need to obtain a marriage visa. And only once you're actually married, you can request a residence permit. But we will get back on that legal advice question later. But first, let's talk on how to proceed. Since the whole process is gonna take quite some time usually, I would recommend you to start looking into it as soon as possible once you decided that you're gonna get married. And because the procedure of getting a visa can be very different from one country to another, the first step that you need to do now is to do some research to find out in which country getting married will be the least complicated for you. Therefore, try to find out in which country the least amount of administrative work will be necessary, how long the whole process is gonna take, and what it will cost you. Once you found that out, you can now move on to step number 2, which is to find out which documents you will need to hand in to obtain a marriage visa. And once you know this, you should start collecting these documents right away, because this can sometimes be quite time consuming, especially if all the documents also need to be translated or certified. To find out what documents you actually need, you can either do research by yourself over the internet, or you can call the competent courthouse and/or migration authority, which can provide you with all the necessary information that you need. Another third step that I think is very important is to get some sound legal advice before you actually get married. In my personal opinion, it is therefore an absolute must to get some sound legal advice beforehand, regardless of where and when you get married. To do this, you can either contact an attorney or a legal professional or another competent authority in the field for the necessary information. You can, on the other hand, also do some research by yourself on the internet, but by doing this, you have to be aware that this information may not be complete for your specific situation. Informing themselves about their legal situation is particularly important for people in a cross-country relationship, because depending where they want to get married or live together, there might be very different legal rules applying to their relationship than what they're used to from their home country. Talking to a legal professional and asking about all the legal aspects and consequences that follow the decision of getting married can be a big relief to some people that are otherwise feeling quite overwhelmed by the situation. But besides talking to a legal professional, if you're getting married to somebody from another country, it can also be immensely helpful if you talk to people who have been in the same situation and who have gone through the same process as you do now. They can share their experience with you and give you an idea of what to expect, for instance, when it comes to the length of the process, potential issues that can arise, or where to get the best advice from. In general, I can tell you from my personal experience that this whole process is sometimes going to require a lot of strong nerves and a lot of patience. However, if you focus on the final goal and on your future together, you will get there eventually, like many others did before you as well. If you now have any more questions about getting married to a foreign citizen, or if you would like to share some of your own personal experience, feel free to do so and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Other than that, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If so, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Finally, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to be talking to you again soon.